So, quick recap where we left off. Got these all kind of test mounted together. Right now it looks good. I have the shaft coupling in being assembled right now. So what I'm going to start doing is test mounting the other motor mount that I'm going to have to actually build here. I'm going to try and save this guy from how it was originally assembled, because right now that's sitting basically right over the frame where I want it. Since this is rear wheel drive, the motor's turned 90 degrees. And what I've done is I've just installed these M10 by 1.5 studs. And really just 2 jam nuts together, put them in there so I can have just enough space. It should give me about 1 thread out of the nut when mounted to my plate, which is a 1/4-inch steel plate. So what I'll be doing is really just putting that together. I did put some Loctite on there right now. Should be wicking in and just starting to seal up and dry. It's kind of what you're seeing drip down the sides. So what I'll be doing, placing that, I'm gonna really kind of estimate where the rubber motor mount is connected, which should be somewhere out kind of this space where the motor was originally, and then weld together, cut it to size, punch some holes. You can kind of see, got the screws kind of lined up. This is general, since I don't have any hands today to help me out. This is more of how we're looking. So I'm using one of my long clamps off the support for the oil cooler. Push the bottom of the motor in. Then come over here, use my top clamp off the master cylinder for the brake, and push it to the side so I can kind of align it. This is the issue I had pointed out a while ago. The power steering sits basically right under the motor. With how this is going to end up landing, I just want to make sure I've got a little bit of space for the motor and the power steering. Just in case they're bumping into each other, I don't want to break the body or the housing for that power steering. So kind of thinking about how I'm going to mount this, I've been trying to lay out and plan how this is going to fit together. Now, I definitely won't be able to use both of those old mounts. If you don't know, they're not the same. They're too big for where I need to be and where I can mount, just relative to where like this frame is. Like this guy is pretty massive, and when I'm mounting to those screws right behind it, just crazy high. It's just not going to work, and I don't have space to mount without coming way off the motor with a massive piece of steel, get under the condenser, and get onto a part like that. So what I'm thinking is to take some 1x2 steel, mount where the old mount used to be here, just come straight out, and then miter down at an angle to that piece. I'm probably just going to take the grind off wheel, or the cut off wheel, and just cut this square tubing off of that piece, so I can just save the whole pattern, just weld directly to that. This side, I'm not fully decided yet. I'm going to have to kind of see what happens with the first piece and then work from there. All right. Going back to this guy. This is a plate that I cut for mounting the holes. Now, this is offset one way. This is going to help me determine which way is front and back on this guy. So basically, this would be the front side of the car. Before I took it off, I did mark with a big piece of steel tubing where to place it so I could actually fit it under all those parts. And I went ahead and described that line a little bit. I'm going to come down just a bit lower. I don't have good welding tables here, so I'm going to have to weld on the concrete. Lined up fairly well. We'll just going to tack it into place and just kind of hit those sides. For the rates that are on the motor, I'm just going off of the plate that's inside the cabinet. little bit ugly, but it looks like it reasonably bonded and penetrated, and that's what angle grinders are for. That's about where we're looking right now. So that mount, still grimy, but it's down there. And just kind of hanging on the studs is that first welded piece, and that's about how everything's connecting right now. So really, it looks like I'm off only by about 1 inch of tubing, maybe 1.25 inches. Let's take a look. Yeah, there's other metals from the scrap pile. Obviously, a better welder touched it than me, but that. Getting very, very close. Might have that in there. And they're perfect without doing anything. So, just for the sake of simplicity, I think really all I'm going to do is cut this piece to length, overshooting a bit, and I'm going to take off some of this older square tubing and just basically just salvage some and just put it directly under there, and I think it's going to fit just about perfect. Well, I didn't really think you needed to see me hit things with a chop saw, but when I was kind of roughing things together, that's how it's all looking right now. Little overcut there. I'll probably just leave it. I don't really see the value in really flushing things up and doing mitered stuff. It's just gonna get grimy and ugly anyway. So yeah, I just gotta clean these guys up, chamfer those edges, start assembling them, and I'm going to be doing some of the welding on the frame here just to make sure it all fits proper for the final version. Just point of note, if you're actually doing the same thickness of steel, the weld goes a lot smoother. I'll clean all this up after, like I said, once I'm closer to just being done and assembled, I'll just hit this all in the flapper wheel and clean it up and make my welds look like I did them on purpose. Oh, got that guy put back up. I went ahead while it was cooling and kind of hit it with the angle grinder anyway. Just clean up those sides. Looks a little bit more deliberate now. Does look like I shifted about 3/8 of an inch from where I originally intended to cut. Doesn't look like it's a big deal. I can get a socket, all those screws. So I think it'll be alright even if I got that there. So I'll also have to offset this piece of tubing about like that. Structurally, I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's going to take a little bit more effort to align it, weld it, do all the other stuff, but that's all pretty manageable. So I'll just start tacking all these parts together and then pulling them off and just doing the whole thing as a single piece. Well, still ugly, but I think it'll hold. Really, I just got to paint this guy up because once it's on, I don't feel like taking it back apart to do so. And let's get it posted up. Well, rushed it a little bit, but I went ahead, slapped that on. I just got excited to see if it all worked. Definitely all fits. Support chain's a little bit slack. Looks like that can actually hold the weight. Let's see. looks like it can hold that weight. So that's exciting. Not everything's all the way down. Some of those screws don't have nuts on them right now, just the ones that are welded in with studs. But everything fits. I still have clearance down there, so I think we're good. Sitting pretty.